I am the general of the Athenians, a feministopolis renowned not only for its unwavering commitment to democratic ideals, but also for its fierce spirit, intellectual vibrancy, and remarkable cultural achievements that have profoundly shaped the very fabric of our civilization and influenced countless societies beyond our borders. My story begins 10 years ago, during a period marked by great upheaval and uncertainty, when the very survival of Athens and all of Greece seemed perilously uncertain amidst the looming threat of foreign domination. The Persian Empire, under the formidable and ambitious rule of King Darius the Great, stretches across vast territories, wielding incredible power and resources amassed through years of relentless conquest and subjugation. His armies, disciplined and vast, have ruthlessly crushed the Greek rebels in Asia Minor, leaving a trail of devastation, fear, and shattered hopes in their wake, signaling a dire warning to all who dare resist Persian dominion. Now, their sights are set on us, the Athenians, who have earned a reputation for bravery, independence, and unyielding defiance by liberating the Greek cities that sought our aid and protection against foreign oppression. Our resistance is spearheaded by Miltiades, the great strategos whose tactical genius, strategic foresight, and unwavering courage have made him a revered figure among our people, and my personal role model. Despite the overwhelming might of the Persian forces, only a handful of Greek city-states have stepped forward to support us, leaving Athens almost entirely alone in this desperate struggle against an empire that seems unstoppable. Yet, it is here, on the plains of Marathon, that our city rises to the occasion, marshaling every resource and spirit of its people to deliver a stunning and decisive victory that will echo through history as a testament to our resolve and valor, a triumph that not only preserves our freedom and way of life, but also brings immense glory, prestige, and a renewed sense of pride to Athens. For King Darius, the defeat at Marathon is a bitter pill to swallow, although it does not significantly weaken the vastness of his empire or diminish his standing among his subjects. To the outside world, he had seemed invincible until that moment, and the loss tarnishes his legendary aura of invincibility. I cannot help but envy Miltiades' glory. He is the true hero of Marathon, the man who found a way to defend our city against a seemingly unstoppable foe, and lead us to victory through brilliant strategy and indomitable spirit. But what good is honor to him now? Athens mourns his passing deeply and believes itself safe from further threats, yet I am convinced that the danger has only just begun. A mere glance towards the sea reveals the unsettling truth. The shores of Athens and the surrounding Aegean Sea, far from being peaceful after the Persian retreat, have become battlegrounds for constant skirmishes and naval clashes between rival Greek city-states, each vying for dominance, control, and influence over trade routes and strategic islands. Greece is far from a unified nation. It remains a patchwork of fiercely independent city-states, often bitterly divided by old rivalries, competing interests, and frequent conflicts that threaten to undo any semblance of unity. The old enmities, temporarily quelled for the sake of unity at Marathon, have flared up once again, leaving the seas without a single controlling authority, and creating an environment ripe for opportunistic aggression and piracy. Traditionally, Athens lacks a powerful navy and the extensive naval expertise possessed by other maritime powers in the region. Instead, our ships and harbors frequently fall prey to the cunning and aggressive seafarers from the neighboring island of Aegina, whose skilled sailors and formidable fleet currently dominate the Aegean Sea. It is Aegina, not Athens, that now commands the waves, a fact that many Athenians reluctantly accept, but few dare to imagine will soon change dramatically. Little do they know that their city will soon face a threat far greater and more terrifying than anything Aegina could muster: the formidable navy and renewed ambitions of the vast Persian Empire. However, there is one among us who perceives the looming peril with clear eyes, strategic insight, and unwavering resolve, preparing Athens for the trials to come. After ruling for 36 years, Darius the Great dies without having completed his punitive campaign against Greece, a delay caused by ongoing troubles in Egypt that demand his immediate attention and military intervention. His son, Xerxes, designated heir during Darius' lifetime, inherits an empire rich in history, power, and complexity, a civilization that has thrived for over 1,000 years but faces new challenges and the need for consolidation. To solidify his claim to the throne and prove his worth as King of Kings, Xerxes must first subdue Egypt, a vital province whose wealth, strategic location, and rebellious spirit make it indispensable to the empire's stability and future. This initial military campaign provides Xerxes with the opportunity to demonstrate his leadership, military prowess, and political acumen, setting the stage for his eventual focus on Greece. Meanwhile, back in Athens, we are hard at work refining our naval capabilities, specifically focusing on perfecting the ram of our triremes, the swift, agile warships that form the backbone of our fleet. By covering these rams in bronze plating, we aim to enhance their strength and effectiveness in naval warfare, ensuring that our ships can deliver powerful, decisive blows to enemy vessels, crippling them in the heat of battle. This effort to strengthen and modernize our fleet is not merely a technical improvement. It represents Athens' determination to defend itself against any threat, to rise from the shadow of Aegine's dominance, and to prepare for the storm that is surely approaching from across the sea. An impending conflict that will demand every ounce of our courage, ingenuity, and unity. As tensions escalate and alliances shift, the stage is set for a conflict that will define the future of our city, our people, and all of Greece. A struggle that will test our mettle and shape the destiny of generations to come, leaving an indelible mark on history for centuries to follow. Suddenly, the discovery of a rich silver seam at the Laurium mines near Athens brings a transformative wave of wealth to the city, profoundly altering its economy, society, and political landscape in ways previously unimaginable. This extraordinary find, renowned not only for the sheer volume of silver extracted, but also for the remarkable purity of the ore, becomes an unprecedented source of immense profit, revitalizing the polis and setting it on a path toward unprecedented prosperity. The silver seam's discovery acts as a catalyst for wide-ranging changes. In line with deeply entrenched Athenian customs and democratic ideals, the revenues generated from the mines are equitably shared among the citizens, boosting individual fortunes and strengthening communal bonds, thereby fostering a renewed sense of civic pride and collective identity. This influx of precious metal stimulates the growth of various sectors of the economy, including artisans who craft exquisite goods such as finely wrought jewelry, intricately designed pottery, and elaborately decorated textiles, merchants who expand trade networks both within the Aegean and beyond to distant lands like Egypt, the Black Sea region, and even as far as the Western Mediterranean, and public officials who invest heavily in developing critical infrastructure such as roads, temples, and public buildings, as well as in the flourishing cultural and intellectual life of the city-state. These developments not only enhance the material wealth of Athens, but also invigorate the arts, philosophy, and education, leading to a vibrant cultural renaissance that attracts thinkers, poets, and artists from across the Greek world, including prominent figures like the early philosophers who lay the groundwork for classical thought and dramatists whose works would later define Western literature. The newfound wealth enables the state to fund public festivals and religious ceremonies on a grand scale, reinforcing social cohesion and the shared values that underpin Athenian democracy, while also supporting the construction of monumental temples, such as the early phases of the Parthenon, symbolizing both piety and political power. Meanwhile, far from the bustling streets of Athens, Persian King Xerxes embarks on a vigorous campaign to crush a persistent revolt in Egypt, demonstrating a ruthless determination to reassert control over the vast territories of his empire. His approach is notably harsher than that of his father, Darius, reflecting a desire not only to restore order, but also to solidify his legacy as a formidable ruler favored by Ahura Mazda, the supreme deity in Zoroastrianism. Advised by his counselors to swiftly punish Athens as a symbol of defiance, Xerxes moves to consolidate his power and extend Persian dominance further into the Greek world. In the opulent palace of Persepolis, Xerxes meticulously plans a grand invasion of Greece, with his trusted general Mardonius advocating a strategic campaign that involves first subjugating the regions of Thrace, Macedonia, and Thessaly before launching a decisive assault on Athens and the Peloponnese. Within Athens, setbacks at sea have weakened the city's defenses, while internal rivalries and conflicts among various Greek city-states threaten to undermine the fragile unity necessary to resist the Persian onslaught. Undeterred, Xerxes assembles massive forces and oversees ambitious engineering projects, such as carving a channel through the treacherous Mount Athos to facilitate naval passage, establishing extensive supply depots to sustain his troops, and constructing a monumental pontoon bridge across the Hellespont, all designed to ensure rapid and efficient movement of his army and navy. Although Greek writers often portray Xerxes as megalomaniacal and hubristic, his military strategy reveals a clear, pragmatic objective: to punish Athens for its defiance and establish Persian hegemony over Greece. Meanwhile, back in Athens, the profits derived from the Laurium silver mines continue to be distributed among citizens, providing tangible hope and strengthening their resolve. The charismatic orator Polydantes seizes upon the looming Persian threat to galvanize public opinion, passionately advocating for the construction of a powerful fleet of triremes. He argues that such a fleet is essential not only to defend Athenian coasts from invasion, but also to protect burgeoning trade routes vital to the city's economy, and to project Athenian power and influence throughout the wider region, thereby securing the city's future dominance and prosperity in an increasingly uncertain world. His speeches inspire a surge of democratic participation as citizens enthusiastically support naval expansion and military preparedness, recognizing that their collective security hinges on their ability to control the seas. This period thus marks a pivotal moment in Athenian history, where newfound wealth and external threats combine to reshape the city's military, economic, and political trajectory, setting the stage for its rise as a major power in the ancient Mediterranean. The legacy of this era resonates for centuries, influencing not only the immediate outcomes of the Greco-Persian conflicts, but also the broader development of Western civilization's ideals of democracy, civic responsibility, and cultural achievement, laying the foundation for the classical age of Athens, which would inspire generations to come with its remarkable contributions to governance, art, and philosophy. The wealth from Laurium silver mines also enabled the Athenians to implement innovative military technologies and shipbuilding techniques, which further enhanced their naval supremacy. Workshops expanded to produce more sophisticated weaponry and naval equipment, encouraging specialization among craftsmen and fostering a burgeoning industry centered on maritime dominance. This strategic military investment, combined with the city's intellectual vibrancy, allowed Athens to not only survive the Persian invasions, but to emerge as a formidable empire that wielded considerable influence over the Aegean and beyond. The ripple effects of this transformation contributed significantly to the shaping of Mediterranean geopolitics for decades, embedding Athens firmly as a cornerstone of ancient Western history and culture. In Greece, it is only Athens that has embarked on an ambitious and unprecedented program to build warships, recognizing the critical importance of naval power in the face of the looming Persian threat. Simultaneously, Xerxes is assembling a vast land army in Asia Minor, composed of troops drawn from the empire's 50 different peoples, reflecting the immense diversity and reach of the Persian Empire. The scale of this mobilization is staggering, with contingents ranging from infantry and cavalry to specialized archers and engineers, all unified under Persian command, yet maintaining their distinct cultural identities. Alongside this, he has also put together an impressive fleet, manned by Egyptians, Phoenicians, and Greeks from Asia Minor, showcasing the empire's ability to harness maritime expertise from various regions to bolster their naval strength. Meanwhile, monumental work on the Mount Athos Channel continues, despite significant engineering challenges in preventing the walls from collapsing under the strain of excavation. The Phoenicians, renowned for their maritime ingenuity, came up with the innovative idea to excavate the channel in a V-shape rather than a simple rectangular trench, which effectively doubled the scope and complexity of the project, but also improved water flow and navigability. Thousands of laborers, including slaves, prisoners of war, and local workers, toiled tirelessly for 3 years, braving treacherous conditions and the threat of collapse, highlighting the immense human cost behind this feat of engineering. When completed, the channel measured 2 kilometers in length, 30 meters in width, and an astonishing 50 meters in depth, allowing the Persian fleet to bypass the dangerous circumnavigation of Mount Athos and sail safely closer to the Greek mainland. The Greeks, keenly aware of the scale of these engineering works and the massive troop recruitment underway, realize that the only possible conclusion is that Xerxes is resolutely determined to invade, with Greece as his ultimate target. I have done everything possible to ensure that all Greeks are aware of Xerxes' extensive preparations on both land and sea, from the construction of the pontoon bridges to the recruitment of countless soldiers. For the first time in recent memory, 31 Greek city-states, many of which were often hostile to one another, must unite, sparking intense debates on how best to act collectively in the face of this unprecedented threat. The most important cities, Sparta, Corinth, and Rhegium, are all present at the crucial assembly, and I am prepared to speak on behalf of Athens, urging cooperation and coordinated defense. No, others say, fearful of Athens' influence or skeptical of unity. Again, yes, I reply, emphasizing the necessity of solidarity. I have yielded overall command to the Spartans, respecting their military tradition and leadership. But who convinced the cities to unite against the Persian invader? Isn't that unification itself the most important achievement? Rather than dwell on pessimism or infighting, I prefer to evaluate the Persian forces objectively. After 4 long years of meticulous preparation, Xerxes' massive invasion plan is finally taking shape. His forces must cross the Hellespont to join up with the fleet already positioned in the Aegean Sea. Xerxes ordered the construction of a pontoon bridge spanning from Asia to Europe, a remarkable engineering feat for its time. And Mardonius connected the 2 shores of the Dardanelles by linking together 674 triremes, ancient warships known for their speed and agility. This makeshift bridge covers the entire width of the strait, approximately 1.5 kilometers, allowing the army to march seamlessly between continents. The ships were carefully anchored and fastened with linen ropes and bark, then covered with planks and leveled earth to create a stable passage. Wooden barriers were erected on the sides to prevent animals from being frightened by the waves, and to protect the crossing from harsh weather. Herodotus estimates the size of Xerxes' army at 5 million men, and notes that the crossing took 7 days and 7 nights. Though modern historians consider this an exaggeration, the Persian army probably numbered between 1 and 2 million, still a formidable force by any standard. The Persians advanced steadily, supported by their fleet which closely follows the coastline, securing supply lines and scouting for enemy movements. Xerxes inspires unprecedented fear among the Greeks and neighboring peoples, and despite the logistical nightmare of moving such a vast army, he easily captures the regions of Thrace and Macedonia, facing little effective resistance and consolidating his control over northern Greece. Now Xerxes is ready to descend on central Greece with confidence and without hesitation, his forces seemingly unstoppable. However, conflicting intelligence reports from spies and scouts plunge the Greeks into confusion and disagreement about the best defensive strategy. For Sparta and its southern neighbors, the preferred defensive line is the Isthmus of Corinth, the narrow gateway to southern Greece, where a smaller force could theoretically hold off the Persian army. But to protect Athens and central Greece, 2 forward positions must also be defended. The narrow mountain pass of Thermopylae, known for its strategic choke point, and the adjacent narrow channel between Thermopylae and Cape Artemision, suitable for naval defense. In late summer of 480 BCE, Leonidas, one of Sparta's 2 kings, leads 300 elite Spartan citizens, chosen for their exceptional training and valor, and about 7,000 hoplites from other city-states to Thermopylae to hold the pass. Meanwhile, the Spartan general leads the fleet to Artemisium with the rest of the Greek naval forces, prepared to engage the Persian fleet in a critical naval confrontation. The events at Thermopylae soon become legendary, as the small Greek force holds off the massive Persian army for several days, using the terrain to their advantage. The Persians eventually manage to discover a mountain path to cross behind Leonidas's position and encircle the Greeks. In a poignant act of sacrifice, Leonidas sends away his allied troops to save them, choosing to remain with his 300 Spartans and fight to the death. The Spartans, masterful in the art of propaganda and morale, transform this defeat into a moral victory, demonstrating to all Greeks that they are the bravest warriors who will always lead their allies from the front lines. Far from undermining Sparta's leadership of the Greek coalition, the battle cements it, inspiring greater unity and resistance. Meanwhile, the Greek fleet fights valiantly in the naval battles at Artemisium, but is forced to withdraw following the fall of Thermopylae, eventually regrouping to besiege the cities that Xerxes' army crosses, whose inhabitants face the grim choices of surrender or destruction. The Persians are now at the gates of Attica, and the Athenians, facing the imminent threat of invasion, must turn to the gods for help, seeking divine favor and protection through prayers, sacrifices, and rituals, hoping that the gods will grant them strength and courage in the dark days ahead. In our uncertain future, we earnestly seek answers from the gods through the revered oracle of Apollo, as our long-standing traditions dictate. Yet the question remains, how should we properly receive and interpret the divine message that ominously foretells great misfortune? I find myself unable to fully articulate the depth of my unease, a profound, deep-rooted anxiety that gnaws ceaselessly at my soul and clouds my judgment with a persistent fog of doubt and fear. In a state of mounting frustration and desperate for clarity amid the swirling chaos, I rally and persuade my fellow citizens to levy an additional tax, despite the heavy burden already weighing down our strained resources, to secure yet another consultation with the oracle, hoping for guidance that will illuminate our path. The prophecy revealed to us is both complex and ominous. Once the enemy has conquered all the lands surrounding our country, Jupiter, the all-knowing king of gods who reigns supreme over Olympus, will bestow upon Athena a mystical wooden wall, an impenetrable safeguard that cannot be captured or destroyed by any human or divine force. This miraculous defense will become our salvation, preserving not only our lives, but also the futures of generations of children yet unborn, who will inherit the legacy of this struggle and the freedom we fight to protect. We are cautioned not to passively await the arrival of the vast and relentless army that marches inexorably toward us by land. Instead, with heavy hearts and strategic foresight, we must flee temporarily, preserving our strength for the decisive encounter to come. A fateful day will arrive when we will face the enemy bravely on the sea at Salamis, a strategic island near Athens, where, according to the oracle's cryptic yet profound message, the tides of fate will decisively turn in our favor. The oracle's words predict the downfall of our enemies, rather than our own demise, a subtle but immensely significant distinction that fills me with cautious hope. If we must evacuate the city and safeguard our army, it is so that we can regroup and fight more effectively later at sea, where our superior naval strength can be fully leveraged to devastating effect. Had the outcome been doomed from the start, the oracle surely would have called it ill-fated Salamis, not divine Salamis, underscoring the hope embedded in this prophecy. My family, like those of all Athenians, now packs our belongings with heavy hearts and trembling hands, burdened by the thought of leaving our ancestral home for the first time in recorded history, Athens, a city rich in memories, culture, identity, and the very essence of our existence. I bid a sorrowful farewell to what is most precious to me. Though my father may have disowned me for my choices, I vow to honor his grave and the values he instilled in me. Would he understand that Athens, without its protective walls, will inevitably fall to the advancing Persian ranks marching relentlessly on foot? Faced with no viable alternative, we must flee or perish, acknowledging that survival demands sacrifice and resilience. I take on the solemn responsibility of organizing the city's evacuation, utilizing our fleet of swift, maneuverable triremes, the very vessels that will carry the Athenians into exile and safety for the time being. May no one scorn our fleet or misinterpret our retreat as cowardice. If we flee now, it is only so that we might strike back more powerfully and decisively in the future. The towering flames rising over our beloved city reveal little of the deeper violence and merciless cruelty commanded by Xerxes as the Persians set about destroying Athens, surely enraged and humiliated to find the city deserted and empty of its defenders. Yet I refuse to be shaken by this spectacle of devastation and ruin. Our temples may have been desecrated, our homes razed to ashes, but we remain safe and free, our spirits unbroken, and our resolve hardened. May the Persians tremble before our wrath and the cunning of our strategy when the time for revenge finally arrives. Xerxes, confident and prideful, is now poised to pursue the Greeks to their refuge on the island of Salamis, a place chosen by fate and necessity for the coming battle. None of his subject kings dares oppose him, and all eagerly anticipate a naval battle, except one, Artemisia, the first queen of Halicarnassus, a rare voice of caution and wisdom amid the chorus of war. She believes it is a grave mistake to underestimate the Greeks at sea, and advises Xerxes to advance overland and seize the Peloponnese instead, striking at the very heart of Greek resistance. But Xerxes remains unconvinced. His pride and ambition blind him to alternative strategies that might secure a more assured victory. He insists on chasing the Athenians and their allies to face them in naval combat, a decision that defies conventional military logic and introduces a dangerous element of risk. Until now, the campaign had been straightforward. Besiege a city, take it or raze it, then move on systematically. With Athens in ruins, the king would logically march down the Isthmus of Corinth to attack the Peloponnesian cities and complete his conquest of mainland Greece. However, the Athenians remain undefeated, and Xerxes cannot risk leaving an enemy fleet behind that might threaten his supply lines or morale. Thus, the Persians sail their fleet to Salamis, eager for a decisive confrontation that will determine the fate of Greece. Yet, the Greeks themselves are deeply divided on how to respond. The Persians have defied us all day off the coast of Salamis, their ominous presence looming like a dark cloud over our fragile hopes. It was once easy to unite the Greeks in refusing this unfavorable battle, but now we face the agonizing debate over which battle to fight and how to fight it. Tensions rise sharply among the Greeks due to the overwhelming presence of the Persian fleet, which numbers an astonishing 1,200 ships, a seemingly insurmountable force that threatens to crush our resolve. The alliance of city-states, fragile at best, is endangered by the temptation of every man for himself, a selfish instinct that could unravel our hard-won unity and leave us vulnerable. The Peloponnesians, wary of naval combat and fiercely protective of their own lands, advocate for retreat if forced into sea battle, seeking safety in familiar territories. Should they refuse to engage, everyone will return to their cities, the army will disperse, the fleet will break apart, and all of Greece will be left exposed to future invasions, the solidarity that we have painstakingly forged, dissolving into fear and self-interest. Our survival hinges on maintaining unity and courage in the face of overwhelming odds, a test not only of military might, but of collective resolve and faith in our shared destiny, a destiny that demands we stand together or fall divided. The Greek fleet, boasting 378 triremes with about 200 from Athens alone, epitomizes Athens' naval dominance and leadership within the crucial Hellenic alliance. This naval strength highlights Athens not just as a military powerhouse, but as the unifying force among often divided Greek city-states, vital for resisting the vast Persian invasion threatening Greek independence. Salamis Bay's narrow straits restrict Persian naval movement, neutralizing their numerical and size advantage, as their larger ships were ill-suited for such confined waters. The battle thus demands superior Greek seamanship, tactical skill, and coordination, stressing the importance of unity among commanders like Eurybiades, Patricia Pratai, and A.A. Europeanus, whose internal disputes risked undermining the alliance. Persian defections further complicated Greek cohesion. Despite these challenges, the Greeks devised a plan to lure the Persian fleet into the straits, negating Persian advantages. Xerxes, aware of potential Greek betrayal, stationed 200 ships to block Persian escape routes, aiming to trap and crush the Greek fleet with superior numbers. Yet the Greeks exploited the terrain to force Persian ships into collisions and confusion, turning the battle into a test of naval skill akin to Thermopylae's land fight, but on treacherous seas. At dawn, tension mounted as both sides prepared for a decisive clash. Initially confident, Persians soon faltered in the narrow channels, suffering heavy losses due to Greek tactical strikes and local knowledge. The Greek assault shattered Persian morale, forcing a chaotic retreat and marking a turning point in the Greco-Persian Wars, ending Persian naval dominance. Faced with logistic crisis and defeat, Xerxes retreated, abandoning his sea-based invasion plans and prompting Persian strategic reassessment. Though the empire endured, Salamis destroyed its invincibility myth, proving Greek unity and strategy could overcome great odds. This victory secured Greek freedom and profoundly shaped Western civilization's future, fostering Greek cultural, democratic, and intellectual achievements that influenced Europe and the Mediterranean for centuries, leaving a legacy studied by historians and strategists today. The aftermath of the Battle of Salamis reverberated far beyond the immediate military and political landscape. It demonstrated the potency of strategic innovation and the power of unity in the face of overwhelming odds, inspiring future generations to value collaboration over division. The Greek city-states, despite their lingering rivalries, found in this victory a unifying symbol that transcended local interests, encouraging a renewed sense of shared identity and purpose. Moreover, the battle underscored the importance of naval power in controlling the Mediterranean, influencing the naval doctrines of later empires. Salamis also had a profound psychological impact on both Greeks and Persians, For the Greeks, it was a vindication of their resistance and a source of immense pride, whereas for the Persians, it was a humbling defeat that exposed vulnerabilities within their vast empire. This pivotal moment set the stage for subsequent confrontations, such as the Battle of Plataea, and paved the way for the flourishing of the classical Greek era, during which democracy, philosophy, art, and science reached new heights. Ultimately, the legacy of Salamis is not merely a tale of military triumph, but a testament to the enduring human spirit and the transformative power of strategic vision and unity. In the centuries that followed, the echoes of Salamis influenced not only military strategy, but also cultural and political thought. Greek historians like Herodotus immortalized the battle, ensuring its lessons were passed down through generations. The emphasis on naval strength and strategic cunning became cornerstones for later empires, such as Athens during its Golden Age, and even Rome, which admired Greek resilience and adaptability. The battle's demonstration that smaller, unified forces could overcome larger adversaries inspired countless resistance movements throughout history, reinforcing ideals of courage and cooperation. Moreover, Salamis helped solidify the concept of collective defense among the Greek city-states, a principle that would resonate in various forms throughout Western civilization's development. Thus, the Battle of Salamis remains a powerful symbol of how vision and unity can alter the course of history, reminding us that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, strategic insight and cooperation can prevail. The enduring significance of Salamis also extends beyond military and political realms, influencing art, literature, and philosophy. The triumph became a recurring motif in Greek tragedy and epic poetry, symbolizing the victory of intellect and strategy over brute force. Philosophers drew parallels between the battle's lessons and broader human experiences, emphasizing balance, foresight, and the importance of collective well-being. As a foundational event, Salamis continues to inspire discussions on leadership and resilience, highlighting the timeless relevance of unity in the face of adversity.